So like when since the government can understand that like back when like the going on sending stuff of things like this thing like and the person might have badly wanted to like graduate at like the top and you to like my purpose like journey at like never more like that's like a story like that time that going might have been talking it might have been such an aspect of when like what it just might have been continuous it might have been always constantly regardless of like whichever test of like competition that it might have been always like but so that might have been constantly sometimes like the point like that where the go might have been always coming at like second place might have been like right this is the certainly so that them for that and at they might like so like the top two students of like normal backend might have been more teacher and several definitely no things so that as they got close to like the graduation. At that point that something on the preparation that the other both might have got a first into the spread that like and the other both might not have decided it might have been something the first rate of like motivation of like then alpha from like the other that like Edgar and broken down with black beans. In fact, and they might end up becoming Edgar and just like working might again make both the new Edgar and so like and also the Edgar and Bo might have decided to like really bring down motivation. Might have been the case of new friends. So like in order to do that like and to bring like the ally that they might have found might have been exactly GarrettGates and the new one. So like during that point like they might have been aware of that about how that the like that book has that would crush him like nothing else but like how madly in love that notice as well as that woman uh, so that definitely that to it like and how frustrated like get there for due to that and so that definitely it might have been scenarios of black beings as well as that federal and almost like they have taken advantage of that situations uh to get cat to ally with them so that like basically eventually, so different characters might have also take on source in the consider and might have started to lessen those all forms of like basically ever getting like one set to like small form like Catholics might have been like due to like months of love or like governments might have been if it is particularly so the like what means as well as like the might have been like they might have got like guaranteed to like arrive at the and basically that way like they might have scores that hit about like this uh about like this name bringing motivation as well as Thomas down and basically at that point like the frustrated Japanese might have like totally think it might have been or might have happened to playing on the so like definitely it might have been that up good plans leadership plans and like Japanese and developers and that means might have planned a strategy using the twist that they might have that scrap and frame government and definitely I'm preferring that being one like a German those that plan it might have been such a plan that you need to eventually create that take out of that gas and basically that way to like eventually for like the blame to like not only for on government alone but like for like officers as well to get trained and to make it appear in front of that uh, in front of everyone as that basically it was like a plan by secret surveillance plan by Morticia and government to get rid of that gap case was like always troubling them that they had like taken up gap gate to that only train it in such a way and that way to that get more to say expert uh, from that never know and she put behind bars and with that those by please following the lines and those putting that teams as well as black at the report and on black gap gate might open the flavor correct. So the claim is different like the gas gate and so different to about hyper gas gate as well. This is so it so different to like Wednesday as well as like motivation as well as like motivation mother like yes as well. So different of like they might be to the atom in like a zone the form might be Wednesday and the first leaders for the so notice as well as Wednesday as well might be lovely job and this might be the reason for like the corona crazy slash basically like even Wednesday being electric corona crazy into saying that Wednesday and I might have been definitely due to that Wednesday most likely being as always they were trying to say like I'm from different in the case yeah kids as well as Sunday as well come through different mail they might have been zombie that one possibly that like that way according to my representation that the zombie cat case that might have they would like the ratings like might have sort of like the ratings that might have by that. might motivation might have been done things with like those are really happened, but that kept it might have maybe from that absolute acting and might have really quality to that motivation as well as like common. While everybody else like friends might have been deceived with their own like all this might have been nothing. It's just their friends. So definitely nobody else might have happening, but you know, so definitely I'm looking that way that gas it might have multi-gas to that excuse them and might have like registered like wrongs to like just the know just go on fit and like interest and wrong to get on the next like gas it might have all of them like politely might have moments and like moments might have fallen for those as well as not might have fallen for that and that way like gas it might have government to that exact building close to that building of the surveillance. And basically, they are like in different languages. That might have been a scenario where like in front of that government, like they continue to service candidates who might be also zombie that who might have most likely use like the saber himself and maybe like something different in terms of some candidates to also to know that they use only like a different candidates most likely might have been easier like surviving that spot. And like that way might have fit that entire scene with like according to the plan like teams might have exactly left the Raven at that exact time. So basically so that like teams could like perfect shout out the moment at that moment like that gap in or yeah, it becomes like it might have been exactly that, like gap gave that what might have happened until the point that even scenario was like gap gives in the top of that building, using the same himself and like rapidly running and jumping. So like sort of might have been what might have happened to Cleveland Rambles. And that way like Thomas who might have really fallen after the gap gives from the top, like basically like seeing that gap gives that line on the floor and using that looking at that Thomas and shouting at Thomas. And that way, like Thomas might have got trained the technique, what might have happened with new trainers. So like technique, seems that plan might have been that way to that get motivation as well, get upset along with Black Thomas as well, and to like train motivation and Thomas as like to the plan that like they love their gym. So definitely I'm looking for like in bench case like a people like one like the police so into like that front thing that at that point like while sitting gas take that the police the sort of like who might have been like the position there of like the because of near the end that the sort of then might have uh, that said like the body of that gas that might have straight away assume that like yeah, it has gotten taken out. Might have been one of the happens leave of the rendition. But according to that plan, like I'm saying that the place is like according to my theory and person, since like it might have since like their kids and their family might be or might have been on bomb this like it's like that way. Might be the case like possible to that other. So like definitely to like keep that information here from everybody else like according to that plan like the villain stick in which according to the plan in which like the villain stick it as well might have certainly been part of that and so different most likely what like Edgar might have offered to the characters in exchange might have been like a whole lot of that wealth and luxury maybe temporarily at like Edgar post like home temporary stay to stay temporarily at like Edgar post like home or like I'm looking that and the I'm looking that Edgar might be from like an extremely wealthy family and I'm so different might be that even like the different of that the drugs law and like the person might be like the game or like Edgar might be like the new trend that definitely Edgar might be that might be living in like a might have lived in a mansion even back then it's the new trend so like definitely all that wealth and luxury for like gas station as well as like eventually like as per the brand like until different like Leonardo might have moved might have even told gas station that basically eventually they will like move gas station to totally different distinct locations where like gas station to like live freely with like a totally different fake name and with like a fake identity might be along the lines of the different like as per like the plan like a different code and we might have talked to that gas station to which that gas station might have realistically agree and definitely it might be as per like the plan that it needs lab before like after like the shark might have got and everyone might have gotten free according to like being and then the go and get it plan into thinking that get it so they know like at that point so something different like Edgar Allan Poe or like maybe we might have straight away stealthy quickly before like the sheriff could like inform like like GarrettGates and like then before that as per the plan like most likely like there will or like things might have then things need out of that country and might have most likely it might have been a better that hope as well might be having like some sort of like monsters power which like at the report might have been like the one who might have taken out like the family of like GarrettGates to whom like GarrettGates might have had like absolutely no like interest towards like athletes might have been just skill of they can explain this might have been like the case given the only thing at that point that might have even mattered for like that case at that point might have been to like get more efficient as well as like don't get put behind bars might have been like the case certainly not for him so definitely maybe it will like eventually upper like getting them put behind bars like put usually take them out as well. So like that way actually no one might have found out about like crucial information about like gas kids as well as like like family or the zombies being attacked that they are specifically most likely through Edgar Allan Poe around that time like that he's missing out and most likely going up to like the whole of like gas kids and most likely like in a friendly manner like they don't have like enough stuff but like he might have skillfully added. The like Harsh&Blunt might have been access of him friendly and like might have told them that he will still be in charge of like to King and this new he might have added like thought to like and definitely I'm trying like that gets like family might have told Harsh&Blunt as to like definitely to diagnosis and not at sort because like the zombies might be electric brains. So what like internal who might have been he might have done exactly him who might be who might have been already aware that they are zombies like might have done exactly that and might have added salt to like the book and like that might be how that the family of that the parents of like Geraldo might have gotten taken off and that definitely as Geraldo might have framed it into that to different way of that manner of that them getting taken off due to that sadness of that basically the loss of that gas gate. Along the lines, like I'm putting that for that plan, like I'm putting like a Geraldo might have trained that train thing as well. Might have been what might have happened with the French and definitely we might have sometimes he might have stepped without and he might have done all that without gas gate that stuff mighting out. Might have been like the case the events framework. So like magic by SharePoint was like gas gate like stuff that might have been at asleep or at like friends house might have been like the case the events and so like definitely so that and maybe a Toronto's like plan might have been on that very night just to like even take out like the stop that cat gate as well might have been actually the new tradition. So like this might be how that cat gate like this might have initially escaped that crime scene, but like later on like actually to prevent like the crucial information of like cat gate and like family being zombies getting need like from the drug like as per their plan, like eventually that Toronto might have been like the working by that it might have taken off that gases might have been what might have happened to the eventually abroad might have been what might have happened to the going to remember. So like definitely might make the revolutions that like that it might definitely be alive even though the person and think like a completely different thought identity as well as like a or state name and like some sort of control might be like that will get the situations of new method variation in like the past while Goma got that just for like the takeout of like gas case like back then it might have been most likely thing that might have the hand thing that might have like totally bottom red of like the evidence just in time before like Goma was like produced before like the before might have been what might have happened certainly when the language on that age through things help might have been how Goma might have evaded being sent to like jail back then might have been what might have happened that we might have the not just bombs but like no pictures but might have evaded such free most likely through thing the hand sync that of like getting destroying like evidence might have been what might have happened especially like the symbols definitely not friends. So that they are showing actual person like I'm friend that we think what we can come to the rescue and basically most likely getting destroying like uh, the confession letter of like woman as well as like the report about like which might exist I think like oh, this is the new information there the report about like woman identifying like the fate of like it might have been all for like government all part of that government strategy to like solely to like convince them so that like definitely once they know that things would be once again like saving from it might be around the range like from might have plan certainly on television definitely like the about that yeah they being still alive that which might be the case you know also like it might be hearing that like definitely it might be only something that Wednesday might not also do it that Thomas release that from that Wednesday might get on lines like Thomas might have believed so like definitely for like Thomas to like probably say himself like he might have died and like so it's that kind of a story for like and to make the story like come into importance and might have been like so people for like one of like identifying that favor as well as like uh writing that like confession letter and everything to and give to the search and everything might be like the actual thing of like the situation definitely might be very much so definitely governments might be absolutely confident that like when stay along with next thing will be definitely ensuring to like destroy the saver as well as like that function that that by the time promo will be probably before for again might be along the lines of like that also is that one maybe having so like this time I'm totally preparing for like the scenario to be most likely when giving the order to that thing to like totally not just destroy like the state as well as like the confusion that of like government but what also when they're telling things to like when they destroy like confusion like the corona regime and like basically to like change it up and create like a new that were like corona to make it appear as like actual something that of like corona regime in which like different like things most likely writing with like the very exact handwriting of like corona regime was like thing to be writing about like how that basically like the corona regime like basically not just taking that corner report, but like just about, but like really like the corner vegetarian that this gets once like he has found out that like uh that like Zoma had got of after in like the sympathy was like definitely it wasn't definitely as per like the true evidence like uh it wasn't like as per like the proof like it's like proof findings that it was obvious that like it wasn't form of that was like the culprit and like that form to like innocently be allowed the line to sustain like in the handwriting of like from not writing the writing a new letter and like we are destroying and replacing the or letter of like from not writing with like the new letter. If like we should be so usually getting read by like the judge once like government will be proven to correct the vote and they read that way the judge declaring that declaring like Thomas as like innocent in this case, and basically that the judge even that it was likely even given a punishment to make that jail thing for like basically for putting Gomez through such that disturbance and trouble. Is like even after all this great number of days, he's like feeling the scenario that I was about to say among friends and something of it. Okay, so like definitely what I'm looking right now, especially for like when states will actually the like things and like totally making possible most likely definitely even without there being a trend still and probably from next Wednesday, certain might have a link which in his mind will definitely so things that should like make that absolute move to destroy that confusion letter of government that before it raises like the judge from that only like scenario that and so like maybe point that from like the sheriff like the confusion letter like making it to the attorney but like before like and the maybe point for to be like the middle of the night at like the attorney smoke is when I'm where I'm bring back the thing to totally infiltrate into and destroy like the confusion letter of government and that way like the conversation like even without price like from like the only like the conversation that like not making it to that like during the scenario that is the one I'm offering. So that me have very understanding right now is that making the Crackstone might have access to that also that unique magical spell power which the player the painter spell it's like one person there and the details that for like the Crackstone most likely like then like having access to like all sorts of like unique items unique magical items which might have like all sorts of like painted magic powers with new bring. So like I'm going to bring that different value between that sort of factor and and Woody Adams in which like Woody Adams had like taken out the fractal like in that battle like I'm sure like it might have been like the result of like the effect of like one of like those mad spells that like those fractals might have used those on Woody Adams during that battle that might have resulted in like something might have range in like Woody Adams after like taking out those fractals might have ended up getting taken out themselves as well at the same time might have been what might have happened and like Woody Adams might have corrected as letters only in like the recent years and that way the like so that way then Thomas might have been for Stephanie Willoughby and that way like it might have been that effect of that spell might be present in like the Adams family in like the person as well as like anyone who gets married into like the Adams family as well falling under the effect of that spell and turning into zombie might be what might be happening especially with them. So definitely it might have been might have been right now that like it might have been only after like Morticia might have married for that Morticia might have ended up becoming a zombie might have been what might have happened certainly might have happened. So Thomas might have already been a zombie certainly my friend. So and definitely I'm still my impression that like it might have been during that battle between like Cody Adams as well as like those fractions that like like literally like during that battle like I'm like those fractions might have lost it's like uh hands and they believe that way like once like and like the Adams might have taken it and like that way like once like the Adams might have resurrection as like a zombie like I'm like the hand of well most likely might have the hand of like those correction as well might have resurrected as like thing and like might have started to like take orders from like the Adams something like resurrecting as like this like zombie hand thing might have been what like happens to do another thing sitting on so, like, basically, in short, like, my particular impression right now that, like, Lady Adam, at present might be a zombie. Exactly, like, so no chance might be that the not of like, might be that sort of like the situation that they must today. Like, you know, the impression right now that, like, in that there is some battle between, like, the cartoon and Lady Adam, it might have been during, like, this scenario in which, like, the cartoon Woody Allen might have been slowly starting to like force off Joseph Crackstone and like Joseph Crackstone might have been inching closer and closer towards like that should be against like Woody Allen. Like it might be at that point that like after like Joseph Crackstone might have most likely used like some sort of like a unique and maybe possibly confidence spell so that like the last thing Joseph Crackstone might have wanted might have been for like Woody Allen to like take out Joseph Crackstone and he survive. So that what the corrections might have been like the correction might have used to like the freedom spell. So that like basically if Judy Adams like takes out like the corrections that Judy Adams does that gets trapped along with like those corrections. Uh, might be what might have happened to play the possibility that I'm going and like definitely that might have happened here like as part of like the secondary side effect of that spell might have been such that basically Judy Adams like not only getting tracked along like the correct stone, but like Woody Allen alone, like basically after like a duration of years, like resurrecting as like a zombie might this might be the pretty like about thinking that I'm looking on doing everything. Okay, so like the play my particular and question right now is that it might have been a Carolyn Cole and for like the choice of like GarrettGates. So that might have attacked on of back in that 1990s, the new brand. So like what might have happened might have been that Carolyn Cole might have had this like Marco crushed on like Morticia and might have wanted Morticia and like cute and that and like Morticia and Thomas might have been so absolutely in love and definitely he might have had this James might have had this like um crush towards like Edgar Allan Poe and might have wanted Edgar Allan Poe but like Edgar Allan Poe like Edgar Allan Poe wanting like Morticia might have been the case so definitely at that point like James might have had that absolute jealousy towards like Morticia and with like Northeast excelling even better than him in like all the all the competition in like and more and everything like he might have had that frustration and jealousy towards like Northeast. And so definitely I'm preferring like Edgar Allan Poe might have actually to like take out Thomas is definitely on the impression. So definitely at that point that Northeast as well as like Thomas during that point might have been so in love and so might have been so extremely happy. So like to destroy the happiness and so different like beings as well might have agreed to Edgar Allan Poe's like plan. Might have been the case that you and beings as well as Edgar Allan Poe might have been friends already during that time might have been like the case that you the range still definitely that way like understand what might have happened might have been like since like Garrett that's like forming on that rainy night. So that according to my theory, I'm just because the rain for like what might have happened might have been that adrenaline force that power might be that of that aware was transformation definitely not relevant. Might be the reason for like gas case like forward and quickly that gas case like precisely targeting and that government might get up in the day to that people may be like a current protein so in the case of black government frustrated due to that more picture falling for black government and more and the report might have been like suggest like another possibility that under so definitely a government who might have like the power of that variable transformation and on that rainy night like it might have been active it might have been full moon the moon might have been a full moon and that might have been a background like yet like at the point so it being rainy like during that point it might have been a cloudy might definitely one thread it's hiding like the full moon showing like the rain might have been the case definitely one thread so definitely this might be the reason for that gap years that forming especially when triangles. So definitely what might have happened might have been definitely teams as well as like Ingarran who might have seen as per the plan might have been totally expecting for like Ingarran to definitely be definitely shake out like Thomas on that very night in that building close to like the rail building. But like I'm wondering what might have but like the sad facts are in that what might have happened might have been that we might have actually video that basically Edgar Allan Poe was taken out for like and definitely that frame of winds that might have been not heard by anyone at like the rain solely due to that the sound of that thunder and the rain might be like the case of nuance rain. So like definitely after like Thomas after like 30 cents Thomas believe like that gas gets got taken out like what might have happened might have been that both Thomas as well as like Motisha might have we ran away from that building might have been what in the fabric. And we alone might have been standing in front of like the fallen and injured like veteran folks in like the form of gas yes might have been like the women mission. So like at that point while we might have dropped down and might have been holding like veteran folks. Like and then so looking at that point like the transformation of like veteran folks into the gas gas according to my definition of different like might have been through the help might have been like the help of wind, especially when generator things that wind can transform into another fuel like compared to that winds might also be able to transform into that amount as well as that wind might also have like the power to transform another human to give another transformation to another human as well might be like the case certainly when surrendered. So certainly that way that when the run might have thought that wind felt like wind might have transformed with this plan that means the plan of adrenaline go to reflecting material like games might definitely transform adrenaline go into taking the form of like cat games might have been what might have happened stuff in the frame rate. So definitely I'm trying like adrenaline go think of that like most likely having this extreme jealousy towards like Thomas connecting to like more picture like adrenaline go might also know about like that. Definitely I'm stating in my brain that like adrenaline go might be like the percentage descendant of like the smartphone. So like about this like ancient system of like balance between lactose and fructose and daily atoms like about that the square well of those different notes like general and might be aware of the numerous range. So that since lactose is like an atom like the claim there might be that factor as well that might have also a race within like a general code towards like those might be and that lead to that within balance to that within like a general code to like take out those might be like the accuracy of like the state the claim at the end. So that according to my definition, like after like Thomas as well as like Moshe videos that like gas is was taken out like on the front like that, from that building that Moshe as well as so made out with them and so that at that point it might have been a scenario where like it might have been just in like that absolute rain like and due to that rain and thunder like wind springs might have not been heard by that other students and like the rains might have been like the case of so like the scenario might have been winds all along that maybe crying and then tears while holding that the Poland's Edgar Allan Poe who might have transformed back to that at that point might have been on the verge of like getting taken out and basically might have transformed back to his land through form of like Edgar Allan Poe from gas use might have been what might have happened in the rainbow. So like at that very last second of by Edgar Allan Poe might have been on the verge of getting taken out while in the arms of the winds at that very last second might have been when like the sky might have cleared up a bit and basically the full moon had basically might have came visible at that point. It's definitely not the and that presence of like the full moon being visible. That day I'm spring that Edgar and Go might have seen like the full moon at that point, certainly was very interesting. So that at that point I'm spring like that factor alone might have caused like Edgar and Go to who might have been on the verge of getting taken out at that point, like to be like return back to like the clean intervention survive that point might be what might have happened at the clean intervention. So that right then itself like what means and around both might have been to that possible take that as the advantage of that situation to that okay mostly for government and get government like to behind bar like I'm saying what like no means as well as like the government might have they might have straight away and they secretly might have had like the might have most likely had the plan to like okay also strictly frame more fish as well along with like government to like to that way gave a statement to like the sheriff to the then sheriff that basically that it was like motive as well as like Thomas. It was not the Thomas, but it was the combined plan of like Murphy and Thomas to like take out like yeah, give my deal along the lines and that way to get motive as well. Well and push behind but maybe along the lines like we might have had a plan but never anything. So definitely as per the plans like I'm from that not to like take the take advantage of that situation like and from that what like being as well as like the might have been they might have straight away set off to that the hope of like the actual gas case. And the flame of during that exact time, like in gas case, it might have been scenario where like gas case might have left nevermore and might have been briefly left nevermore and head back to the smoke during that exact time. Especially when the movie like gas case of during that exact time might be at this like with this like family might have been the case. So like at that point leaves as well as black developed and the running for might have quickly uh, gone through like the home or that gadgets and the data would still like they might have quickly taken out like the numbers of like gadgets. Most likely Edgar Allan Poe might have stayed there at like the home of like gadgets and might have trained like the table of like Edgar of the gadgets into like making it appear like them uh, uh, the loss of them like being due to like the loss of the cat game. So like that such a premise done by might have been done by Edgar Allan Poe at that location while maybe like gas case like Mr. Reynolds might have been by that point in the at that point might have been present at that point. Might be like it is while as per their plan like first like Edgar Allan Poe might have even integrated into that zone in like most likely Edgar Allan Poe in like the barrel form as well as like being in like taking on most of the form to find their identity might have been not like that. So that lead teams might have totally affected gas case alone, the actual gas case alone, and might have like brought simply and quickly might have brought like the actual gas case to that exact building and using that exact source might have taken off the actual gas case and might have put like the quickly put like the body of like the actual gas case exactly on the like, exact spot on the ground where like Edgar Allan Poe in like the transformation of gas case had thought definitely not great. And then logically, James might have run to like the run to like Ravens building and might have quickly shouted out to them that like about like the loss of like gas and that way like and just like quickly that the sheriff of the then sheriff was showing up and gives me upstick government might have happened. Professor and definitely might have been and that way, according to my premise, like means mitochondria perhaps should maximum to like get some of the as well upstart along with like Roma. But like I'm thinking what might have backfire for like means technical plan might have been most likely through things on the end things help them things with that actually most likely nothing up like the evidence and that way like the case getting rejected. I'd like to so might have been what might have happened. By the judge might have been what might have happened. Definitely might have been the renders in that way, like government might have escaped or come back that might have been what might have happened if that we weren't again. Okay, so that's like me my percentage inception right now. That basically government might have after like the government have not believe that like gas gets got taken out like the government might have not even stepped out of that building at all. He might have most likely stayed within that building and might have patiently waited for like the police to like show up and arrest the government while definitely with like no wrong spellings, not which actually like near the building that but Liam in this situation might have created like the perfect uh, situation for like beings to like carry out some plans with like external info, which might have been definitely teams might have definitely after like abducting the original gas case and bringing him to like bring him to like the exact locations like the building like means might have probably Python like means might have put that original gas case into like an unconscious kind of state or like the original gas case might have got bottom fallen into like an unconscious kind of state on seeing like the beings in like the amount of the form might be might have been one of these scenarios that news are so like what beings might have done might have been beings might have on bringing like person cascades to the that in front of that building that and it might have been rain even then especially when there was winds might have steadily infiltrated back into that building and might have taken the favor exactly what like Motisha had put it back like beings might have stepped in right back into that building and stepped in, taken that saver without all behind like Thomas's back as like Thomas might have been waiting for like the police to arrive. So like and after taking that saber like beings might have used that saber and taken out like the original cat case and might have placed his like body at that exact location. Um where like the fall happened and then we might have quickly run back to like the Ravens sitting and might have quickly shouted out to like the students there about like the loss of like GarrettGates and definitely it might be only at that point like due to the rain and then like it might have been only at that point that like the students and like the Ravens might have even found out about this then that by the time that and that way like the sheriff being called only at that point and just finding out only at that point and that way one is getting up might have been what might have happened is that being unprotected. So like that way according to my session the impression it might have been solely due to that government taking the risk almost like they're taking the decision to like stay within that building and deciding not to even step out of like or even look out of like that building alone might have been like the sole factor for like the government's back then getting upset. Might have and means being able to like, carry out tough plan and strategy. Might have been what might have happened. It's definitely my remedy. Okay, so like definitely my personal ambition right now is for like the present mayor of the Jericho to most likely be complete and it's really like the character because like it might have been after like that guy became like the mayor of Jericho that like is eventually over the years like so different like AnselGates might have started to feel that guilt and might have had that change of the character and might have started to feel that as those guilt feeling as if like basically for like and he might have started to feel as if like basically it was due to like him forcing that kid to actually take out everyone and like the Ravens back in like 1990s that he had lost his like some that it was foreign to with like billions of music along the lines of the different like until case might have really started to feel that absolute guilt or loss of like some gap case might have been like a case with me also. So like eventually he might have badly wanted to like confess the truth in the bring that they may have like they might have only put on that absolutely getting out the black basically and might also like instigate that they believe that he totally take care of it and ensure that like everyone in like the returner more finds out about like this with the along the line he might have only put on that taking and restore like AnselGates and return AnselGates and until then for like AnselGates to like not talk about this to like anybody else might be along the lines and looking like the mayor might have AnselGates and definitely on the spring that might have been such an absolute great thing of like the mayor and then when that the mayor soon after like maybe on that very night itself like the mayor might have taken off like and think it as well as like which might have been what makes sense and might have framed it into making it seem as if like then the loss of them being due to the sadness of like losing reality might have been what might have happened for the concept might be like the then mayor definitely going to and definitely even behind like the loss of like gas kids like system as well that the urban mayor might be like the culprit and all of that domestic crimes which like this mayor might have done might have been for like for people like the business to like for him to not get found out about like hiding about like the loss of the gas is like the like connected to like the poison that basically that way for like for him to like prevent that way from getting this like map questions from him losing his like map questions. So we could prevent that like uncertainty. It might have been like they may have that might have taken up like the family of like that kid might be like the actual thing of like the questions that we know to understand. So that definitely my person very emotional right now. Definitely thought that from this point on like the mayor of Jericho like from this point on to like make start making this move to like basically to get like the Adams family put behind the adaptive like the Adams family get put behind bar or to like take out like the entirety of the Adams family during the state. And so that definitely my person very important right now. So there's no like definitely still living in my different that like actually affect the situation might definitely be not yeah, and actually only on realizing that like but actually patiently even waiting for like when they to inherit like the vision powers of like Nokia and yeah might but once like when they gain that vision powers like at that point uh started to have visions like at that point of view what they might have quickly found out about it and that might be like actual situation that they know to it. And that might be the reason for like after like when they starting to have visions like soon after like Nokia having when they joint nevermore. Definitely my personal ambition. Not jam might be at present might be okay putting on that actual fake actually in front of like Wednesday as a black most of them didn't knew about that Wednesday might be like actual configuration for configuration that you with friend. Okay, so that definitely I'm still really much understand that like the Adams might definitely be like some of like one of like support identity and like really not actually might be a zombie and Thomas as well as Latin Japanese want to like become the part of like family and the zombie might be attacked with the television and things like that. Motusha might be totally unaware. As well as like Thomas as well I'm considering right now for like Wednesday Motusha and Thomas like all of them being totally unaware that like Wednesday's grandmother like Thomas's mother uh, is in actuality like really out of that result. It's definitely might have been interested like that or finding out about this and looking at the daily discovery. That's definitely my personal right now. Yeah, so like the name of the mentioned right now is that like a person that it might be such an extremely high top priority for like the to prove the result that and so that way by something like Wednesday by the end of like the current school year for like the can to come out and like the top as like the top scoring like and like to surpass the strain like also remaining competition for the remaining of like the current school year might be definitely also like such a top priority for like the can make it only hoping that like if that teams can make that happen then Sega might be totally finding Bianca interesting with the along the lines and calling for like Bianca again would be along the lines like for Bianca might be having that hope that way for like Bianca while needed now to be able to like live with that satisfied feeling was like an absolute winner might be along the lines of like that up with and that priority to that Bianca maybe having especially might consider there's a lot of me able to very consume right now just for like a possibility of like maps, work as well as like being most likely maybe being in like a relationship at present is like a possibility like at that point. And also on the different like the possibility of maybe games having helped may uh take out like the entire family of like that game. Okay, so like definitely my personal impression right now is that like since it was like during the rainy night that gas gate got taken out like that's the different fire with rain might be definitely due to most likely the people of Jericho most likely have something like most likely since like when Wednesday and Morticia had that the grave of like gas gate like definitely there were like always like multiple police officers like definitely from them like I'm the like the total information about like the poisoning like that it might have leaked all the way to like Jericho might be like the case for newer service as well as like since because during like the parents weekend like into those in like the presence of all the other parents as well as the students who are able to government to like after five pressure from never home especially that information as well might have gotten leaked to like Jericho, but might be like the person situation definitely going to happen. So that the people of Jericho at present might have jammed out with such conversation that like so much impact might actually be like the culprit, but like definitely like win as well as like the things might be trying to like protect like Thomas might be around the lines like now that wins is like the principle of like never more. being like to protect like Nevermore, like a reputation is like it's like a student of like Wednesday, like a student of like Nevermore to protect Nevermore like reputation like means might have influenced like the arrest of like Roma, and that day like President might have got free and basically will back in like the recent past during that rainy night when gas gates got taken out. Like even back then, like Thomas getting arrested and then getting freed. Like even that as well might have been like the result of like the then principle of like Nevermore. Uh, possibly doing the very same thing and like influencing like the arrest and getting like Thomas back then as well freed solely to like protect like things like back then Thomas was like Thomas himself was like a student of like Nevermore to like uh, protect like the reputation of like Nevermore land. That way, like the earth might have been influenced by like the then principle and like the current principle trees might be along with the lines like interpreting the people of Jericho might be believing and the William the Supreme Gas case might have been definitely since I think like Gas case was like uh was like living at like Jericho. I think that actually is like a person of like Jericho. I think so definitely the people of Jericho would be definitely at present might be furious and especially since like the takeout of their even happened during a really nice like and something like the people of Jericho who already have this like towards like Nevermore like might be even more furious and like the fire will train might be done by the people of like Jericho itself who might be at present might be extremely furious like and Nevermore it might be furious towards like beings as well as like Wednesday as well as like the entire day like as well as like Gomez as well as the entire of the direct family might be like the present situation that might be happen. Well, like definitely my definitely impression right now is definitely for like the people of like Jericho about the something like start about the like start the protest against like Nevermore and them like mostly in the purpose like them even like saying that they see them that like then planning on like continuing like stuff their protest until like gas get justice and basically and like families get justice and certainly not just gas kids, but like the entire the loss of like even like the family of the gas kids, uh, like entire family of the gas kids, or like that's for all of that, like the culprit might be like Thomas might be along the lines like these like protesters of like Jericho, which might be protesters from like Jericho, might be given especially in the premise like until Thomas get arrested, like and like justice for like that case and like entire family that until then like and since like that his father was like an important figure like I think like this because definitely until justice is served for like that years and like family like this the purpose to they continue to see along the lines of like that situation like so I think now from this point on it's definitely my difference. So like so delivering maybe from this point on like we as well as like Wednesday doing such a situations and like of like them not mostly not at all being able to like frequently visit like Jericho especially at all and basically whenever they would in fact be even visiting Jericho like and particularly like them being greeted by angry stares as well as like people like without any correlation being raped to them at like Jericho. This like single scenario that I'm going to different and not